Hello. Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks for tuning in to Fun Speculation. My name is Mav. For those of you that are already here, you probably already know that, but thank you for tuning in to the stream and watching the content here on the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. A huge shout out already to Decado, who started us off before we even went live with 5 gifted Fun Speculation memberships, dude. That is absolutely amazing. I appreciate you. Appreciate all the support from the community, helping us grow. And guess what, guys? Before we went live, I didn't even know this was going to happen, but we just hit 2,900 subs on the channel. So that's only 100 away from 3K. We'll see. Maybe we can hit it next month or the month after that. But I'll tell you one thing. This is going to be a hell of a fun year on this channel because, as you know, this is kind of an Xbox heavy channel. We talk a lot about Xbox. We talk a lot about a lot of different things. But it's going to be a hell of a year for Xbox. And even no matter what some of the pundits out there want to say, and some people out there want to try and twist things and manipulate words or whatever out there, and from Phil Spencer and all that kind of stuff, it's going to be an amazing year. Again, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. If you are unfamiliar with what we got going on, hit that like button, share to the channel, subscribe to the channel if you like what we got. And if you are familiar with this channel, I'm sure you already do that anyway. So appreciate each and every single one of you guys. You are absolutely amazing. This is a little bit of an impromptu stream. If you've been following me on Twitter lately at Fun Speculation, you probably see that I have been a little bit triggered. just maybe a little bit slightly. Usually try and keep things usually a little bit tame here. But things have been going on that have been kind of like getting my juice going, if you want to say that, or maybe getting a little bit of fire under my skin, making me want to kind of fight back the good fight on behalf of Xbox when they get picked on so much. Sometimes, you know, the bullies are out there trying to manipulate things and stuff, and you got to come out there and be like, hey, what's up? Hey, stop. This is nonsense. So put out the facts. Call people out. And that's what I've been doing a little bit the last couple of days. And we're going to get into some more of that here as well. Starting with some of the main nonsense, and you guys see on the thumbnail. Shout out to my beautiful wife, Caitlin. I see you in the chat too, for making our thumbnails here. And she's made a spicy one today. I did not tell her anything to do other than say Starfield is an Xbox exclusive. Get over it. She added all the other flavor on the thumbnails. So appreciate that, baby. You do an amazing job. As well as everything else around the house. Wow. Incredible. But hey, wow. Yeah, this is already got 45 people here hanging out for this impromptu stream. Shout out to all of you. I'm going to give shout out to a lot of you right now. Shout out to Jasper, Fun Spec Fam member, part of our great community here. Check out his channel, Artificial Gaming News, or AI Gaming News on Twitter. Decado, shout out to you again. Thanks for the gifteds. Talos Re, Sub Psycho, Vik The CLiCK. What up, man? Psycho, another huge part of our family. Let's see. We also got Tony. Not Tony Grasso, different Tony. Well, Tony says, how hard is it to just buy an Xbox? I bought a PS5 just to play Crisis Core and God of War. Hey, apparently it's pretty difficult for a lot of people out there. I don't understand. But they don't think they should have to, I guess. Shout out to 3-Bit, another huge part of our family here. And also started doing his own content again. He's running Q&As on his channel. Check out his channel. He thought it was Wednesday, so he put out an apology for maybe not being able to do it today when he's supposed to be doing them on Wednesdays anyway, because this guy's clueless most of the time and doesn't know what day it is, doesn't know how to play most video games, and he's a video game creator. So shout out to 3-Bit. We love you. I'm just kidding with you, bro. Absolutely amazing. At Camp Easy, shout out to you, dude. Shout out to the people that got the gifteds out there. The Fifth Horseman, what up, what up? So yeah, I do see Tony Grasso hanging out there. Decado and Tony were trying to get me to do another tidbit segment. I see that in the chat. We just did tidbits on FSP. It might be boring to go over the same games again. I don't know. What do you think? Wilfred Rosario, what up, what up? Frizzle, what's up? Andrew Cullinane, what's up? Whew, man. Let's see. Who else we got here? Calorie, what's up, Calorie? How you doing? Portal Player, what up, Portal? How you doing? Let's see who else we got. NC Ghost of Low Road. Hey, shout out to you. What's up, Ham Solo? Amazing channel out there as well. Does a lot of interviews in the community. All right, I think I'm caught up. RSJ fan, yo, what up with RSJ fan? How you doing as well? All right, so let's get into the meat of the discussion. We'll get into a little bit of the meat of the discussion. Apparently, people forgot that Starfield is an Xbox exclusive. And they just were reminded today because of a Phil Spencer interview on Xbox On, and they decided today to throw a fit about it. You have a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of content creators, a lot of the usual clown show out there trying to make this seem like Phil's twisted his words again. Hey, I thought we were getting Starfield, or like, hey, you lied back in the day. Remember that interview you did way back when you didn't say what I'm about to say that you said? That's what's going on right now. They're trying to make it seem like Phil is manipulative. Phil twists his words. Phil manipulates people. Phil says this, but does that. Simply not true. If you go back and look at a lot of the interviews he's had in the past, everything was put out plain and clear and simple that, hey, Starfield is going to be in places where Game Pass exists. Hey, but plus Steam as well, right? So Steam, actually Starfield right now is the most wishlisted game still on Steam without a lot of marketing. Crazy, right? Without a lot of marketing. Apparently, I guess you need 4 months of marketing, according to some people. But no, this game's still highly anticipated on Steam and also on the Xbox ecosystem. But guess what? I want to just say this to PlayStation only players, right? Don't be upset. Don't be upset. If you want to play the game, I got avenues for you. Game Pass. You can play it on Game Pass. Guess what? If you got a phone, you got a Samsung TV, in the future, NVIDIA Shield, GeForce Now will probably have it on their system as well, so you can play it on an LG in that case, or whatever NVIDIA GeForce Now product you have. You could play it on Steam if you got a PC. You can buy it on Xbox, or you could do the unthinkable. My God, you could do the unthinkable. You could go out there to the store and find a Series S for $250 to $300, or if you really want to go out there, get a Series X for $500 because it's an amazing device. So if you want to play this game, which clearly is important to you, it clearly matters to you, because this conversation has been going on for 2 years now. You got access to it. PlayStation has exclusives all the time, even from not their own games. They Money had exclusives. Final Fantasy 16, for example, this year. Final Fantasy 7 Remake and Remake Part 2. Money had it exclusive on PlayStation. You have all these games all the time. Guess what? If I want to play those games, guess what I got to do? Guess what I got to do as a consumer? I got to go get my ass to the store, and I got to get a PlayStation, right? Or if it's on PC, I got to play it on PC. But for some reason, when Xbox has a IP that now they actually even own, it's not okay. Xbox not allowed to have their own exclusives. They're not allowed to. Doesn't make any sense. I call bullshit on that. So I'm gonna 3-Bit hit us up in the DMs, and I asked him, hey, he said, hey, all the nonsense going on, you should go live. So I said, hey, give me enough fuel here, and maybe we'll do that, right? So shout out to 3-Bit. Yeah, so he sent me a couple of people's stuff, and I'm gonna read some of that. Some of his little bit of links here. Again. So all right, we got some of the usual suspects. So this guy says, this is, I don't know, should I even say their names? Do I give them that attention? What do you guys think? Do you want names, or do you just want to ignore it so they don't get attention? I think the best thing is not to give them attention. So I'm just going to say that what this person said. This person said, I said from the moment Microsoft acquired Bethesda that Starfield was going to be an exclusive to Xbox PC, and rightfully so, but don't come with no BS that the game was never officially announced for PS5. Therefore, it wasn't taken away. That's a new level of stupid just to defend Phil. Was it ever actually officially announced for PS5? People were asking him for actual links or information about this, and he came up with nothing. So I'm curious, do you guys remember an official announcement for PS5? I remember maybe that it was coming to next-gen consoles, or potentially in the past, but nothing ever saying specifically what console. People then try and point to documents that allude to the fact that maybe it was being made or had been planned to be on PlayStation. Stuff from the regulators that's behind the scenes things. Again, elude doesn't mean it's fact, right? This is the same level of information that comes from the pundits, from Andy Robinson and journalists like that as well. There's no information out there ever that they had announced it for PlayStation 5. Calorie says Pete Hines said before the acquisition said they didn't have plans for exclusivity, supposedly, but that's pre-acquisition. Now, we also got to look at this also. PlayStation was rumored to have been trying to get Starfield exclusivity for them. Did we hear anything about that? Now, we got to look at stuff that actually did happen. We got timed exclusivity for Ghostwire Tokyo. Timed exclusivity for Deathloop. Two Bethesda games actually got PlayStation exclusivity. Are we talking about that, PlayStation users? That did what would, if in year one, if you are only a console player, if you wanted to play those games, what would you have to do? You would have to go buy an Xbox or a PlayStation. I'm sorry. Guess what? Tables have turned. This time, Xbox has got it. They were sick of it. They went out and got ZeniMax Bethesda, and it's exclusive to Xbox. No matter what could have originally been in the minds of the developers before they had signed any deals, before they'd announced any consoles, during the process, early on of developing this game, or maybe middle of the process of developing this game, ZeniMax Bethesda got acquired by Xbox. If they had had internal plans or whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Point blank, it doesn't matter. Because when Xbox acquired them, they were clear that this was going to be an exclusive. Point blank clear this was going to be exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem, which also does now include Steam. So, do we need to keep reminding you of that? Do we need to keep pointing to these statements from Phil Spencer back in the day when he said this? Doesn't make any sense. Then you have stuff like Todd Howard says exclusivity wasn't on the table until Xbox acquired them. Okay. Yeah, well, guess what? Xbox acquired them. Is that wrong for them to make the games of the studio that they acquired exclusive on their platform? Pretty much ZeniMax Bethesda is going out and acquiring several studios at once, right? You're acquiring a publisher, you're acquiring Tango Gameworks, you're acquiring Bethesda Game Studios, you're acquiring Bethesda Softworks, you're acquiring, let's see, ZeniMax Online, you're acquiring Alpha Dog, Roundhouse, id, Arcane, all these studios, right? You're just buying them in a group together. They all have all these IPs and all this stuff, right? There's several acquisitions from both sides that have been happening over the years, and it's Starfield. It has no predecessor on a PlayStation. So when Phil said back then that the games that are already on PlayStation are going to stay on PlayStation, that did not include Starfield. So you can't go and twist his words saying that Phil lied because the games that he was talking about are going to be coming out on multiple platforms. That did not include Starfield. Point blank. Period. End of story. So I'm sorry if you're upset about it. If you wanted to play it on your PlayStation, tough luck. It's time to get over it. It's time for you guys. It's been 2 years now, a little over that maybe. I don't remember exactly when that acquisition was announced. It's time for you guys to move on and heal. There's a process to this, right? You know, you have the first step is maybe denial. Second step, anger. There's what is the 12 steps? As somebody that's been to AA meetings, just tell me the 12 steps there. Like I feel like there at some point there needs to be an acceptance. We're missing the acceptance step of this, and it's been a little too long for them to accept this. I don't get it, right? So you can't come out there with the hypocrisy from PlayStation core fan base side saying, well, PlayStation does this, but it's okay because they earned it. And then when Xbox does something, it's not okay all of a sudden, and then trying to make it seem like there's been manipulation or twisting of words or whatever. None of that's happened here. So people trying to run with things again. It reminds me of exactly what happened like 2 years ago. The crazy thing is there's still some people that feel like Starfield is going to come out on PlayStation. 3-Bit got in an argument in this guy's chat because the guy was like trying to put out there that the game's still coming to PlayStation. You can't make this stuff up. Yeah, I mean, you literally can't make this stuff up. Like, what has to be more clear? When they came out there at, was it E3 2 years ago or whenever it was, and said that Starfield will be exclusive. It's like the big, bold letters, loudly, clearly, trying to make it very clear to everybody. For some reason, it doesn't get through the skulls. Maybe they missed that show. So, all right, Calorie says it's the 5 steps of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Yeah, they need to get to the acceptance stage. Thank you, Calorie. I appreciate that. Acceptance, right? You may have grief over the fact that you don't get to play Starfield on your PlayStation. But guess what? There are more places to play than on a PlayStation. Oh my God. I saw one, I remember, was it Christopher Dring from GameIndustry.biz was like, well, people shouldn't have to go buy something to play. Like, what? What? This was in response to Colt Eastwood's tweet. I remember a while back that he had said, like, if you want to play these games, get an Xbox. People took exception to that, especially some journalists saying, well, the sad thing is buying up these properties and then make them exclusive. Some people don't have enough money to go buy multiple consoles. Why weren't you saying that when Final Fantasy fucking 16, 7 Remake and Remake Part 2 were made exclusive to PlayStation? Where were the articles? Where was the kickback? Where was the kickback? Where were you saying these things when those things were announced? Where were the questions from the majority of the journalists out there when Baldur's Gate 3 was missing Xbox this time? We had to all rise together as a community and get those answers. 2 publications actually asked questions, Windows Central, and I think it was Push Square. I can't remember the PlayStation one, but shout out to those 2 for actually doing their damn jobs. But the people that cry about these things, about having to buy another console, about potentially having to join a different ecosystem, which, mind you, Xbox is the most easiest ecosystem to get into. It's the most easiest ecosystem to get into, right? You don't even have to buy a console. You can have a PC, you can have a phone, you can just have a TV with an app on it or whatever, and whatever other ways they come up with in the future, right? So you're going to cry about people having to join an ecosystem that's simple and easy to get into. Mind you, they're also putting the game on Steam, which is very popular, right? When on the flip side, the only way that people can play Final Fantasy 16 or 7 Remake or 7 Remake Part 2, which are also massive properties, is they have to go buy a $500 box and buy a game for $70? Tell me what's the easiest avenue. Tell me what's the easiest avenue for somebody to join. What's more accessible? Tell me what's more accessible. Is it the Xbox ecosystem or is it the PlayStation ecosystem? We'll get into more of that a little bit later and why a lot of these PlayStation exclusives are failing. Forspoken. Rest in peace, Lumious. Rodrigo Valencia says, I own a PS5, but the Xbox platform altogether and its offering is super appealing. Yeah, it's easy to get into. It's just simple. It's cheap to access. All you got to do is pay $14.99 a month, and you have like tons of different devices you can access it from, right? If you want Starfield, you can do that. You don't even have to pay $70 for the game if you don't want to, right? You don't have to buy a $500 box. And if you do want to get a console, there is a cheaper option. You can get a $250 box to $300, depending on what price you find it for. And if you don't have a console and you got a PC that you game on, guess what? It's available there, not only on Xbox's store, but it'll also be on Steam's storefront. And in the future, after this ABK deal closes, it'll be in the NVIDIA GeForce Now storefront. So where's the problem there? Where's the problem? How many places can you play God of War Ragnarok right now? God of War Ragnarok, one of the most popular games on PlayStation, right? It sold massively, drove sales of a lot of PlayStation consoles in the last quarter, right? It's absolutely doing amazing for them. How many places can you play God of War Ragnarok right now? What is the avenue to be able to play that game? Not near as many as the Xbox. So you people stop crying. It's going to be okay. Get over it. Another Twitter user says, first off, I don't understand what the fuck this guy is trying to say, because it makes no sense how he starts the sentence. I got to admit, I make a lot of typos on Twitter too, so I can't call it out too much, but how don't understand how this guy can go around making a million of these virtuous infomercials. He was interviewed also when examples contradicting his bullshit are under the plain fucking sun for everybody to see, without providing any context to what he's actually talking about. And he's describing Phil Spencer, but he's providing no context into where the contradiction lies. Where is it? You say there's examples contradicting his bullshit or under the plain fucking sun for everyone to see. Provide it. Provide that. Because you're getting called out for basically lying because it's not true. And instead, you just look like a crybaby. The usual suspects out there. The usual clown show. Where's the burden of evidence, right? He sounds almost as bad as a journalist right now, coming in without the sources, right? Like, where is the actual facts behind your statement saying he's contradicting himself? And the only thing I've seen people out there trying to post absolutely says nothing of the sort. They're eluded, or they made it exclusive after they required. So they never announced it that was coming to your platform. And they never said it. Hey, they never said PlayStation 5 coming and blah, blah, blah. That never happened. And even if they did, oh well. It's okay. Guess what? Final Fantasy VII Remake did say it was only a one-year timed exclusive, and they did say that it was going to come to Xbox in the future. Didn't happen, did it? Did that happen? How and why not? What happened there? Tell me, what happened there? Do we see you same guys crying about potential alluded to statements or potential contradictory statements about that going about Final Fantasy VII Remake when Square actually said that it was coming to Xbox after a year? Where's the outcry from these guys complaining about exclusivity, about paid for exclusivity? What hypocrisy runs deep. Hypocrisy runs deep out there on Twitter in the gaming community, right? The usual clown show, as Pong Soul likes to call them. Just makes no sense. So where's the outcry over that? You see the blatant ignoring these things from journalists all the time. People don't say anything about it, but Phil's very clear about something and always has been. And then you go and you try and twist words or try and say that things have always been up in the air. Like, where's this bullshit coming from? No matter what happens here, Xbox can't win with you guys. And that's just the bottom line. You hate Xbox. You don't want to buy an Xbox. You don't want to support Xbox. So you want to lock yourself into one place to play. You claim you have high-end PCs. Therefore, you can access all the Xbox stuff if you want to. But then when a game actually is in that ecosystem in that vein of being able to access on a PC, a high-end PC, where you get the best experience anyway. You claim that you can't access it. So which one is it? Because I'm confused. I'm confused about where the problem lies. If you've been okay with playing all these Xbox games on your PC before, what's different now? I don't get it. The hypocrisy runs deep. Contradictions run deep. Journalism bias runs deep. Community bias against Xbox runs deep. And it's been ultimately apparent this last like week and a half that it's just getting ludicrous. It's just getting ludicrous, man. It's like you can't make this stuff up. Like the journalists coming out and saying that sources say that Xbox is going, Microsoft is going to sell Xbox potentially if this ABK deal closes. What fucking logic is that? According to pundits. That's my new favorite word, by the way, everybody. Pundits. I'm going to be using that on this channel a lot because it's such a ridiculous word to describe people that would actually say a thing like that. It actually devalues the meaning of the word pundits and makes it sound like it's more of a simile for idiots, morons, ill-advised, or people that don't actually exist. So those are the definitions now for me when it comes to the word pundits, thanks to journalists out there that have used that as their source without actually adding any credibility to this whatsoever, without any information. Just say, oh, they're highly important pundits. Pundits. I love the word. Absolutely is gonna love it. I just, you look for that, and maybe we'll make a pundits emoji. Maybe you can get Kate on that at some point. Make a pundits emoji. Shout out to Ducato earlier, when he was giving those 5 memberships, he was giving me some fake fact. He was selling information under the table as a fake facts person, as a pundit. Fragula says, fighting the pundits off with a stick. Poison Maniac says, this should also highlight how much bigger of a market share PS has over Xbox. Yeah, it's a mind share thing, too. It's not just a market share thing. I think, like, it's become more and more clear as this ABK deal gets closer to being potentially finalized, right? We've seen a lot of good reports lately. Potentials. Today, there's even another one about an offer from Microsoft to the CMA with trying to solve some of the problems that they've raised. And the closer this gets to this deal looking like it potentially could go through, because they all thought it was going to be dead no matter what. Now there's like, this is like, oh, there's a chance. They're like, oh no, my God, there's a chance that this ABK deal could actually pass, that this ABK deal could go through. What are we going to fucking do? What are we going to do about this? Like, you see these journalists squirming, right? You see people on social media start squirming and stuff and start making up stuff, twisting words, trying to like manipulate things to like drive misinformation out there to the public and twist the knife into Microsoft in whatever way. And it's big. And we talked about this on FSP a little bit. And I honestly think it's because to a lot of people still, like, gaming is only for them, PlayStation and Nintendo. And they still see Microsoft as this outlier trying to invade their way into the industry, using their big money, right? Using their big money, trying to invade their way into the industry. We don't care about them. We don't like them. You know, we only care about we only care about PlayStation. Completely ignoring the things that have happened and that have gotten the PlayStation and stuff to that point that they are now. Completely ignoring everything that has gotten PlayStation to the level they are now. Like manipulative tactics within contracts, using dominant market share position to use their weight against developers to keep games off of other platforms, to agree to different deals with them in the fear of potentially losing access to their game on their platform in the past. That's been a tactic of PlayStation's for a long time. As they gotten market share higher and higher and higher, it's gotten worse. It's just gotten worse and worse and worse and worse, all the way up until where we are today, when they think they have such rights to their place in the gaming industry as to say that nobody has a right to buy a publisher out there that has a game that we've had investments in the past, pretty much. Call of Duty is so important to them that it funds their whole thing, pretty much is what they said. They said this in documents to the regulators. They said that without Call of Duty, we can't even make our own games. We can't even make our own games without Call of Duty. First off, here's one thing. Microsoft's already come out and said that Call of Duty is going to be on your ecosystem, so stop crying about that, right? Second off, the only thing you're losing in this is marketing rights. And let me tell you something. If you've built up your brand, if you've built up your whole ecosystem, if you've built up your whole platform that rests on the hopes and dreams of something you do not control, that's weak as fuck. If your hopes and dreams of the future of your brand rest on something that you don't even own, man, you fucked up. Because who knows? What if ABK went under? What if somebody else bought ABK and decided to do something else with it? Or what if Call of Duty just doesn't exist again in 10 years? Does PlayStation cease to exist at that point? That's bullshit. That's no. So the argument that they make in that regard is complete nonsense. Marketing rights do not equate to this whole entire success of your platform. And if that's the case, then that is the weakest shit I've ever heard in the gaming industry. Claim that their games don't sell enough to make it profit, so they have to rely on Call of Duty to fund that stuff. Like, come on, guys, really? That's not the way it is. And PlayStation ain't going anywhere if ABK is acquired by Microsoft, and Microsoft is not going to sell off Xbox if the ABK deal does not close. Both companies are going to be fine either way. You're talking about one publisher and a sea of several. There's lots of publishers out there. There's lots of gaming studios out there, always starting up. New games happening all the time. New studios being formed. You never know where the next big thing's going to come from. The only people that are going to be upset is the console warriors fighting battles over bragging rights. Point blank period. Those are the only people that lose in this. Nobody else loses. Like, Sony may take a hit. They'll maneuver. You got lots of games you can make, right? You got lots of things. You just buy Destiny. You get whatever Bungie's next game's going to be is going to be fucking huge. You best believe that. It's going to be huge, right? And if you want to talk about not doing well with making enough money on your exclusives, that seems like an eternal problem there. What do you got to do? You just figure out another way. Microsoft figured out a way when they invented Game Pass. Does PlayStation have to do that exactly? No. But you can't complain about somebody else doing something when you're not even trying. Game Pass is an avenue that takes pressure off for a lot of these individual games to meet certain criterias of sales or success or whatever, because guess what? A lot of people are going to have access to it. A lot of people are going to play it, and the whole ecosystem is driven on people joining in and engagement and that kind of stuff. It takes the whole pressure off of, we're going to make a game for this amount of $1 million, and it's got to sell this amount of $1 million to make a profit. And that's the old way of doing things. And that's fine if you're successful with it. And apparently what Sony is saying is that they're not successful with that on their exclusive games. So they need Call of Duty to offset that. Otherwise, they can't keep making exclusive games, which is such horseshit. It's not a good model anymore with how expensive games are getting anyway. You see all these games out there, like for these devs, even like Embracer Group has had games like Saints Row had a crazy budget, like 100-something million. You had a Callisto Protocol from the new studio had like $150 million budget. These games cease to meet expectations. Square Enix runs into this problem every fucking game they release, pretty much. They take money up front, sign an exclusivity deal with whatever people, usually PlayStation. Then the game doesn't sell very well, and then they blame the developers. And in this case, guess who suffered? The actual developers. Lumious is now absorbed into Square Enix, has lost their autonomy as a studio pretty much. And it's all on Square for accepting the deal of the upfront money, because guess what? You limit the amount of potential the game has in the first place. When Xbox does a deal for exclusivity and a game to come into Game Pass, it's usually not these big, huge franchises and stuff like that that leave PlayStation. It's games that, like Stalker 2, that this new studio needed money up front to be able to make this game in the first place, right? It's usually things like that. And these games have a bigger chance of success because of Game Pass. Point blank, period, right? You're taking the pressure off of having to meet those demands, because not only do you sell the game, you also get the engagement of the players that are in the ecosystem that creates some marketing hype. Plus, you also have the game in Steam, which people have access there. You have multiple avenues of accessing these games. So the Xbox exclusives is a completely different animal than a PlayStation exclusive, where we've seen games like Babylon's Fall shut down after a year. Would y'all believe that Bleeding Edge is still alive? Remember that game, Bleeding Edge from Ninja Theory, that was like the first game that they had released under Xbox, because it was the one they were working on already when they got acquired, and it was like this little pet project they have. It flopped majorly. It didn't have a lot of people excited for it, and nobody was really playing it. They're still running that game. Square Enix flopped with Babylon's Fall after signing an exclusivity agreement with PlayStation. Had Platinum Games made the game. A year later, servers shut down. Disc is a paperweight. You buy the physical, doesn't matter. It's a paperweight. Physical, digital, doesn't matter. Game, you can't play it anymore, period. Point blank. It's worthless. GameStop couldn't even give them away. Forspoken now, not living up to expectations from Square. Absorbing Lumious now because of a flop game. A lot of people love Forspoken. I'm not saying it's a bad game. Didn't meet their expectations again. Who pays? The developers. Square Enix before blamed the Western Division. Sold off Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal. At some point, Square has to look themselves in the mirror and say, hey, maybe we got to start doing things a little bit differently on their big games. Shout out to Alvin. Alvin, you're just the man I wanted to see you, bro. Usually do a really good job at making sure I get to all the super chats on a show. But I greatly apologize, Alvin, because I missed a super chat from you on FSP on Monday night. And last night, I don't like to do that at all. So I saved it here for when I saw your face in the chat. So shout out to Alvin, who on our last night show hit us with the $5 super chat that I stupidly missed. I realized it afterwards, and I greatly apologize, dude. He says, if Starfield releases in April, the Marchers still win. Just maybe a few less heretics sacrificed. That's right, Alvin. Hope's still alive. We're on the eve, hopefully, of the Starfield deep dive announcement. I know you weren't going to say anything, bro, but I still feel bad. You know, you spend money to support the channel, and you put out the comment. It's my fault for not reading that. Like, I missed it. I had stuff all there, and I had it ready on the screen. Honestly, I just forgot. And if you support the channel, I don't like to do you like that. So I wanted to make sure I hit it up. So I saved it here on my notepad, ready, waiting for when you showed up, because I knew you would, because you're amazing. So there's that super chat from Alvin from last night's show. Appreciate you again, dude. We're hope still alive for Starfield deep dive. That's been the hot topic today. It will be exclusive to Xbox and Steam, which to me, Steam is now part of the Xbox ecosystem because they sell a shit ton of games on Steam, and they're happy to do so. Another example of how they're not trying to foreclose the market or whatever, right? But this deep dive announcement, right? I like 3-bit for some reason this morning. I woke up and I thought it was Wednesday. I woke up and I was like, did they make the deep dive announcement? And I didn't see it. I was like, shit. What's going on? I thought it was going to be Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. And I was like, oh, well, will they do it on a Friday or Thursday? I guess it's possible, you know? And then I remembered it was Tuesday. It's like, oh, okay. Whew. Tomorrow we could have the Starfield deep dive announcement. Is it too late? I got a question for you marchers out there. I got faith still. If the Starfield deep dive announcement is announced tomorrow, is there still time for this game to launch in March? That's the question I got. Yeah, Emperor SofaKing says, "Hey Mav, have you heard of Reforged Gaming?" I have, and that's the guy I was alluding to earlier that 3-Bit got like almost into argument with on his stream, because that dude apparently still thinks Starfield's coming to PlayStation. I don't know how you can be with all due respect, with all due respect, the guy seems like he's got a channel that's growing. He's got a good community there. He does like daily content, like during the day for hours and stuff. He's a monster at creating content. But somehow it seems like he's lacking in some information that's been out there in the public for years. Stuff that's been accessible to everybody for years. And somehow one of the biggest games this generation, Starfield, the information on that game that's been widely talked about for a long time has escaped his mind. That fact that Xbox has already said it's exclusive several times. So much like he's an example of the kind of people that I've seen on Twitter today. Like just oblivious. Tries to manipulate things, tries to like these people on Twitter are trying to say things like Phil said this, but he's doing that and all that kind of stuff. And I haven't seen that. The only thing you can say about Phil, the only thing that some people can say is, yeah, Xbox is going to do VR, and they never did. But like to me, that's like, okay, I don't really care about that. They just change their plans, right? Alvin with the $5 super chat says, I think the direct is next week. The January show had a 2-week notice because community angst caused them to have to announce sooner than they wanted. See, that's what I think too, man. You got to think back. Now we're getting back into fucking fun speculation over March. Let's go. My favorite topic. All right, so he's alluding to the last time when they announced the developer direct. They announced it on a Wednesday. The developer direct was exactly 2 weeks later. I think it was like announced on like January 11th, and like the direct was on the 25th, something like that, right? So you had a 2-week time span, but if you remember to the way the community felt and stuff at that time, including us, you remember they had missed the Game Awards, right? They had just completely skipped it. They had really no new news for a while, for like months. Like that's big news. People were getting antsy. We were like, what's going on? Like, we need some information here, guys. And then there was rumors that had started to swirl that Xbox was planning a show that they're going to do a developer direct and all that kind of stuff. And this new rumors were out there. And then they finally announced it. And I think I agree with you that I think they announced it earlier than they normally would have because of the feeling and the vibes out there in the Xbox community. That's why we got a whole 2-week announcement for a developer direct show. At that same announcement, they also said they're working on the Starfield deep dive. Then later they said that it was coming soon, right? That was through another one of their accounts. They said it was coming soon. So adding all that up, right? You got the Starfield boxes out there that everybody sees and stuff like that. Now it's come out several sources in the community that insiders and people in the know, people like Tom Henderson and out there and stuff like that, say this is imminent. Like the Starfield deep dive announcement was imminent. And that was last week. So we're thinking it's probably announced. The Starfield deep dive is probably going to be announced this week. And it could have been Monday, Tuesday. So last time they announced it on a Wednesday. So my money's on tomorrow, right? My money's on tomorrow. The question is, if they announce the deep dive tomorrow, I think there's a possibility the deep dive could be within a week from then, or sometime the following week. I don't think you need to do a whole 2-week announcement ahead of time for a deep dive on Starfield. So if that's the case, then you say tomorrow is the 1st, right? You say that the deep dive would hopefully be before the 8th. We talked about this before. Maybe at least before the 15th or maybe by the 15th, right? At the latest. Because I think the latest would be 2 weeks after they announce it. They're not going to wait They're not going to announce the Starfield deep dive like 3 weeks in advance. It's just ludicrous, right? So it's got to be 1 to 2 weeks at the most, right? It could even be sooner than that. The state of play, they only announce it 2 or 3 days in advance. Nintendo Directs only get announced 2 or 3 days in advance. So they just like only need a couple days to drop enough hype for this, right? So you got, let's say they announce it tomorrow, right? You could have a show on Thursday or Friday or Saturday, or which I highly doubt, but it'd probably be maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So within a week, probably. It's what I'm guessing, right? So within that, if you have it within a week, let's say by the 8th, that still gives you, let me count, to hit March, you still have the 15th, 22nd, and the 29th week. So that's 3 weeks. You have over 3 weeks still to hit March release date. Now, some people say you need 4 months of marketing. You need 4 months to lead up to a release. I think that's a little bit like not realistic to the reality of the way that games are actually marketed these days. I think usually there's like a heavy marketing hype a few weeks before the launch, and then the game comes out. So if you started it strong with a deep dive, you could have the game out within a few weeks. And that leaves the possibility it still could be March. Let's see, April is a possibility, right? You never count that out, right? If it doesn't hit March or April, I'm okay, right? I don't cry about that. I get upset if it's past June, because then that's another kind of disappointment from Microsoft when they had 2 different showcase games from last year that are probably pushed back to the fall when they said within 12 months. So, like these I don't want the second half of Xbox this year to consist of the games that were supposed to launch last year, right? And that's what I don't want to see. But I don't think we're going to get that. I think they're going to start it off strong with Redfall, Starfield, and Minecraft Legends, Forza Motorsport, maybe early fall, late summer, and then second half, later in the holiday season. Who knows, right? You could have Hellblade 2. You could have anything. You could have Contraband. Who knows what's all there. Appreciate you all being here, guys. Let's see. Shout out to ShaneG. Again, shout out to Alvin. Poison Maniac, what's up? You guys saying hit the like button. Appreciate it. If you do like the content here, hit that like button, share it out, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all the support from you guys. Got 103 people here hanging out for an impromptu stream on a Tuesday night. And not Wednesday, Tuesday. Let's see. We got let's cause more people. Sub Jay, how you doing? Snooky Jackson says hit that like button. WBG brothers from Mav. Shout out to WBG. Shout out to Dirk Griggity, Sean, and the whole gang over there. Absolutely fun show to watch every week, and also TTS from Sean on his channel. Yeah, I see a lot of you guys talking about Reforge. I saw that guy also like originally, and I was like, hey, this guy's got a lot going on. It's cool. And then I started listening, and it was pretty obvious. You know what I mean? It's pretty obvious. Here's the thing, right? I don't try and hide my bias, right? I clearly like Xbox more than PlayStation. If you try and hide it and you continuously sound like you're shitting on the other thing or making reasons why it's bad and the other thing's good, you're just a fucking liar, right? You're just lying to your community. You're just lying about things, right? And regardless if it's him or other people, right? And I see a lot of this. There's nothing I can't stand more within the creative community than disingenuous bullshit, right? I'll tell you one thing, regardless of what I think on this channel, 100% what I say is actually what I feel, and what I talk about is what I want to talk about, right? I can't stand the misinformation. I can't stand twisting, manipulating articles. I can't stand the clickbait journalism out there that has completely ruined gaming journalism, point blank, period. I can't stand the fake creators out there that pretend to be unbiased when are clearly always spewing hate for the other brand, right? I like PlayStation. Don't get me wrong. I like PlayStation. But right now, I'm not high on them because I haven't really played anything from their first party that I've enjoyed for a while. Ghost of Tsushima was really good. I liked that. GT7 was cool. I think Forza Motorsport's is going to smoke it. And also, I liked Uncharted a lot, right? And that's what I liked from PlayStation. I liked the first Spider-Man game. Miles Morales felt more samey to me, so I didn't get into it. And so I have a lack of excitement for Spider-Man 2. Like, just point blank, I don't have as much excitement as I should, right? So I personally, I'm just like not as excited about the brand right now, right? And I also get annoyed at the hypocrisy out there, right? I get annoyed about the hypocrisy, the ultra biasness when they're pretending to hiding under a cloak of of integrity, right? It's not genuine. It's disingenuous, you know. So when you come out there and say, "Oh, I'm not biased," like Xbox shouldn't be able to do this, or and then I'm not biased, and then it's bad for gaming if this happens from Xbox. So I'm not biased, and I don't like anything Xbox does. Or I'm not biased, but here's the thing: I am biased because I like Xbox more. Do I still like PlayStation? Yes. Do I like Nintendo? Not right now at all. I hate Nintendo right now. Point blank, period. I'm just being honest. I hate Nintendo right now. I hate what they're doing, and I'm open about it. I fucking can't stand their business right now because they have a shitty device that I don't like to play on. I'm just being honest, right? One day when they make another device, I'll be back on the Nintendo train. Right now, I can't stand them. I think they're fucking ruining a lot of things for a lot of people that have loved Nintendo games for a long time. There's still people that love the device. Shout out, with all due respect, to everybody that likes it and likes the Switch and likes the device that these games are on. I think is massively holding back potential for Nintendo and ruining the amount of enjoyment that Nintendo fans can have. So I hate Nintendo right now. Point blank, period. I'm just saying it. They need to do better, right? PlayStation's doing great things. Just a lot of it's not for me. So I can't really shit on them. I think I like the PlayStation 5. I think it's a good console. I think that they have a lot of great games, even if I'm not as necessarily a fan of those games, right? But as far as Xbox, they got a lot more stuff I like. There's a lot of RTS games coming at Xbox. I love RTS games. I love shout out to Xbox Games with Gold. Finally had in over a year for the first time. Finally had a game hit Games with Gold that I actually care about with Sudden Strike 4 hitting. Shout out to Pong Soul for sending me that in the DMs, right? There's so much stuff in Xbox ecosystem that I'm a fan of. That's why I like Xbox more. And guess what? Also, Game Pass doesn't hurt either, because when you have access to all of them and all you have to pay is $15, that's pretty fucking amazing as well, right? Shout out to Xboxer Mike, sup ShaneG. ShaneG says, watch the segment from Colin and Dustin on Xbox this week. Literally the most insane, delusional thing I ever saw. It was so bad I had to cancel Patreon. Oh my God. So you canceled the Patreon over their segment? I did see that, actually. Somebody had posted a clip of it on from their YouTube channel. Poison Maniac says, I have a bias towards Xbox and hope this ABK deal goes through so Sony gets creative, does something weird again. The thing with me is, like, I've always had PlayStations. I sold mine again recently. Whatever, right? I just wasn't playing it. But I always want to enjoy a PlayStation. I always want to enjoy Nintendo. It's just certain things keep me from enjoying them at times, and then I move on, right? Xbox, even last generation, with as down as it was, I've always had enjoyment with it, right? It just is what it is, I can criticize Xbox a lot of times. I get flack for that at times because I criticize them for certain things. I still think missing the Game Awards was a mistake and stuff like that, right? But overall, Xbox is still the ecosystem I prefer. So I am biased when it comes to that, and I come from that perspective that that's the platform I like. People like Jeff Keighley, hide their bias. People like all these gaming journalists out there try and hide their bias. A lot of content creators hide their bias. They try and claim they're not biased. You have podcast hosts out there uh, blatantly spreading misinformation and clickbait articles and stuff like that all the time, trying to create a battle with people on their shows to drive the chats and create more super chats and all this different stuff and just to grow their. Here's the thing, they all can all do them, but it has zero value to me when you come off as a disingenuous asshole, right? When you're disingenuous, like disingenuous means like basically you're pretending to think something, but it's all bullshit, right? Like you're just coming out saying something that's just fucking, it's just noise, right? It's just noise, and it's all just for what other purposes, right? Genuine people, there's a lot of genuine content creators out there, regardless of what you think, right? Regardless of the opinions. Like, for example, one person I'm gonna say here, Fonz Relly Gaming. Shout out to Fonz. I love Fonz, right? Do I agree with everything Fonz says? Not necessarily, no. But I know that Fonz is genuine, and that's his opinion, so I respect it, right? That's all I care about. If you have a real opinion that we can have a discussion about, if you have a real opinion that I can say, okay, I can see how you see that, or I get where you're coming from, but I don't agree. If you have a real opinion that actually has some weight to it, I can respect that. I can't respect bullshit. Point blank. Period. Fahim says, who peed in my apple juice? Gaming journalists peed in my apple juice this week, Fahim Scott. Gaming journalists did. They're peeing in everybody's apple juice because they're straight up lying. They're if you want to say who's their pee is bullshit and apple juice is gaming news, right? They peed in everybody's apple juice this week. So yeah, it's bitter. It tastes nasty. It's not good, right? A lot of these gaming journalists out here are just fucking blatantly biased. And the thing is coming out closer to the ABK deal, like I said earlier, potentially closing or maybe getting approved. The squirming out there from these people is just insane to watch. It's actually really entertaining, right? It's actually really entertaining to watch them squirm and try and manipulate and do things. And the thing is they're so sensitive. If you call them out on it, they hide. They go and hide in their fucking closet. They say something ridiculous, like my pundits, again, my favorite word, say Microsoft might sell Xbox. People are like, what the fuck are you talking? Dude, you got to find some new pundits, man, because those pundits aren't very smart, right? But to actually put that out there in the world, and it was an actual contradiction. He was going after Phil Spencer, basically calling Phil Spencer a liar when Phil said that Xbox is going to be here regardless if ABK closes or not. Phil said ABK deal is not some linchpin that if it doesn't go through, Xbox is going to suffer from that. Xbox is going to be okay either way. Phil Spencer's words. He comes out and he says, no, Phil, contrary to what Phil's saying, pundits say that, if ABK doesn't happen, that Microsoft's going to sell off Xbox. In what fucking world does these pundits live in? Or are they even real people, right? Because this guy, I've liked him before. I like a lot of the stuff that Andy Robinson has done in the past. But this was point blank on purpose what he did there, right? It was obvious. It was just an obvious thing. He's just putting it out there purposefully, right, for people to start driving this conversation. What's different now that a lot of these gaming journalists aren't maybe used to. All the people out there that like us, like you guys in the chat, are actually getting information from more credible sources now, and actually starting to have everybody has a sense, like some fucking common sense, right? People have common sense, right? And so when you see that, it's like everybody's like, "What the fuck are you talking about, dude?" And everybody calls him out. This guy, instead of providing credibility to what he said, he goes and fucking hides his profile. He hides in a closet. It's so sensitive and weak. And the gaming journalists right now are not doing their damn jobs. Point blank, period. They're ruining gaming journalism. It's been happening for years, but it's getting worse and worse and worse. And part of it's because these people are exposing themselves more and more because of the ABK deal. They're starting to expose themselves more for who they are. And why you've seen all these slanted articles for the last 15 years or so regarding Xbox. It's coming out to the forefront. And guess what? They can't hide on Twitter. When they say this stuff now, they can't hide. It's out there point blank to see, and people are calling them out for it. So they go hide in their closet. They hide their profiles. Or worse yet, guess what? Their editors realize that they didn't do their job, and they have unfactual information, misinformation spewed throughout the article that they actually have to pull the article from the website. Or they realize that they screwed up so bad that it looks ridiculous and makes themselves look so bad that they retract it themselves and then rewrite the article. That's what's happening right now. Point blank, that's what's happening right now. And so this is why, if you ask who peed in my apple juice, it's all this bullshit that's been going off the last 10 days or so, because again, it looks like Microsoft might actually pull this off and get ABK. Then you got the disingenuous content creators out there. You got the bullshit clown show on Twitter, always trying to manipulate things. And I'm just, honestly, I just got to say, like, I'm just sick of it, right? It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Like, at some point, you have to realize how stupid you look. At some point you would have to think that, right? It's just insane. Like, over and over and over again, just blatant ignorance from gaming journalism, from this clown show and stuff on Twitter as well. And it's a disservice to the game. It is the reason it pisses me off is because it's a disservice to the gaming community. And honestly, a long time ago, this was one of the reasons I started the channel. It's one of the main reasons I started the channel. I saw like this blatant biasness out there, and I saw all this just misinformation and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? Like, on this channel, we're gonna come out and we're gonna try as much as possible to bring positivity to not only Xbox but to gaming. It's just become so hard though to fucking like stay positive about some of the shit you see from some of this stuff out there when it's a constant attack, right? It's a fucking constant attack out there, and it's like people say, "Oh, it's obviously more one-sided than the other," right? Because guess what? There's a lot more people on PlayStation's fanboy side that just want to see Xbox fail. Let me tell you something. If you actually want Xbox to fail, you wouldn't like the world that you're living in gaming-wise, right? Your games are going to get more expensive. Point blank. You need Xbox. You need Xbox. PlayStation fans, PlayStation-only players, you need Xbox to be in this ecosystem. You need Xbox to compete. You need Xbox to put the pressure on PlayStation to make them do good for you. You need that. You want Nintendo to be your only competitor when they're the fucking worst ones out of all of them? Putting fucking remasters out for 3 months at a time? Charging $60 for games that are just fucking up-res to 4K? Or not, sorry. I misspoke. A lot of those games can't do 4K. I mean, for real, you want that to be the only competitor that PlayStation has in the industry, in the console hardware space? Are you fucking kidding me? Get real. You need Xbox. You need Xbox to succeed. You need Xbox to be doing well because you need them to put that pressure on PlayStation. Right now, they're putting that pressure on PlayStation, and the fanboys over there do not like it. They're squirming. Guess what? If I were you, I would want Microsoft to buy ABK, because PlayStation will have to start doing more than relying on the whole model of investing only in the third-party fucking payoffs and marketing rights to grow their brand. You will get more and more better games on PlayStation, more investments, more creativity about how to make a better deal for your consumers if Xbox is successful. That's the reality. That's not a lie. That's what competition is. That's what competition does. That's what the regulators out there are supposed to protect. That's what the regulators out there are supposed to want. Point blank, period. It'll add a lot more competition to the space, right? For sure. Ooh, shout out to you guys. Thank you for hanging out tonight again. I went on a long spew right there. Sorry. Sometimes you just got to get it out, right? Let's see. Let me try and catch up with some of the chat here. Frizzle earlier asked if I played Total War 3. I played a little bit. I don't play a lot of PC games. My PC kind of sucks compared to my Xbox. So, let's see. Trying to get some of this chat. Sony is nothing more than a crybaby and its ponies. Yeah, FARK, shout out to you. Up to RSJ says no problem. I totally understand. Yeah, sorry, long-winded sometime, right? 3-Bit says, can I pull up the Pete Hines vid? That's literally their main. Are you talking about when like Pete Hines sounded like apologetic almost, like back in the day? Like, is that what they're saying? Right? Is that what they're saying, bro? I mean, it's not even worth it. Like, this guy's got to get over it. Acceptance, final stage of grief. Let's go. Starfield's exclusive. Played on Steam, played on Xbox, played on Game Pass, played on fucking LG or Samsung TV, whatever you gotta fucking do. If you want to play Starfield, I don't feel bad for you. There's a million fucking ways you can do it, right? If you want to buy an Xbox, go for it. Buy an Xbox. You can get one for way fucking cheaper than you can a PlayStation. Point blank. At J Mac, shout out to J Mac, says the other side is in pure survival mode, though it isn't even part of the process at this point. The fan base doesn't even care about being thrown under the bus. Yeah, people I saw on Last Stand actually when that I forget who it was talking about. Did I see what they were saying there? Talking about how Microsoft is making themselves look bad, right? Because talking about the market share and the 80-20 thing and all that kind of stuff, right? It's like, do they not realize, have they not been following the whole process? Like, and shout out to Colin Moriarty, who runs a huge operation and all that kind of stuff. Like, respect for the podcasting alumni, I guess. I don't fucking know. Respect to what he's created, right? But has he not been paying attention to the whole regulatory process when, like, the regulators themselves are what cut Nintendo out of the conversation? Has he not been paying attention to all of that? Because his whole rant on, like, Microsoft trying to make themselves look bad being a weird tactic. Do they have any, like, dignity or whatever is kind of what he's trying to portray. Like, have you not seen what Sony's trying to do, saying they can only survive if Call of Duty marketing rights are on their platform? I mean, that's way more pathetic, first off. Second off, it's not, it's what the regulators said. So they're running with that. It's obvious. I mean, shout out to Nando G, says, YouTube recommended me your channel. Hi. Hey, thanks YouTube for actually recommending me to somebody. That might be a first. Colin is the Alex Jones of the gaming industry. That's fucking funny, dude. Okay. Chipmunk says, it's funny how quick they go from Xbox has no games to Xbox is a monopoly. The Xbox is so far behind Sony, so that doesn't count. Yeah, it's like it's bipolarness, right? This is what we call the disingenuousness, right? This is what I'm talking about. It's because whatever the conversation is, they just shift the goalpost to whatever fits their needs of the conversation, right? Oh, Microsoft can't buy ABK because they're going to become a monopoly. They're going to foreclose the industry. Like, there's only one resource, and Call of Duty is like one of the only 3 resources in the industry or some shit like that. It doesn't make any damn sense. Video games all over the place, out the ass. Video games coming out fucking crazy. 2023 alone, how many damn games are there? Hogwarts Legacy, one of the biggest sellers this year. It's going to be one of the biggest sellers for the year, period. Got it, PlayStation marketing rights, right? You want to talk about how important this one fucking game is to your brand? Come on, right? If you don't have marketing rights on that, it's not going to kill you. Microsoft taking that away will not destroy you. There is no monopoly of Microsoft if they acquire ABK. Just point blank, period. Dumb. Think that. It's just ignorant. It's just like a lack of common sense, a lack of intelligence. I don't even fucking know what to say. It's just like just stupid, right? So think that, ludicrous. Besides that, then they go and flip and say like Xbox is horrible and they're like so like unimportant and all this stuff. Like which one is it? Like which one is it? Right? Like, is Xbox big or are they small? I'll tell you one thing. When Phil Spencer said today on that interview on Xbox On that Minecraft has 100, I think he said like Minecraft has 120 million active users. 120 million active users. That is fucking insane. It said like somewhere when they started like 20 or 30, and it's like said like I need to find the quote. It said something like 120 million active users when he's talking about Minecraft. And yeah, it's on mobile, it's on all these other places and all this stuff. But my God, that is insane. Think about it, like Destiny 2, I looked it up, I think had like 1.8 million active users, right? So Destiny 2 at 1.8 million. I sent this in the tweets earlier. All of ABK, right? All of ABK. It says quarter 4 2022. Number of users in millions, 111. I don't know if that's for per month. I think that's for the whole quarter. Oh no, it says number of monthly active users for all of Activision worldwide. It says number of monthly active users, Activision worldwide. 2022 quarter 4, 111 million. Minecraft alone smashes all of Activision. That is absolutely fucking insane. And that's an Xbox game. That's a Microsoft game, people. Right? You can play it everywhere, right? It's a big deal. You try and make Xbox seem like they're small, but it has... What's the biggest game we think that's a PlayStation-owned property and monthly active users? What property does PlayStation own that has the largest amount of active users per month? I'm curious at what the guesses would be for that. Shout out to Nando G with a $5 super chat. Says, love the green look. Been on Xbox since I was 7. Wouldn't change platforms for nothing, especially with the Game Pass value. Over 200K gamer score. Right on, man. Appreciate that super chat. And congrats on the 200K gamer score. I've been playing Xbox since about 3 months after the original Xbox came out. And it changed things for me because online was the shit once it hit. Before that, Halo was the shit. Xbox Live hit the year after, I think, 2002, I believe. Once that hit, and then later when Halo 2 came out, oh my God, it was over, right? But even with the original Xbox, I was still hooking it up to my router and doing like our system switch or LAN switch, whatever you fucking want to call it. And we were linking we had LAN parties, hooking all of our Xboxes up together. And then we ended up hooking it up to the internet and going and joining like XB Connect, which was like a website you would go through and play with people online. 3-bit member for 20 months is front page of YouTube Gaming. Let's go. Everyone like button. Hey dude, is that for real? We're on the front page of YouTube Gaming. I appreciate it. 3-bit. Tony Grasso says 144 people might be the most I've seen in here at once. Appreciate you, Tony. Hey, I think the record for our channel, Tony, is we did a Capcom stream, and I guess we might have been the only ones streaming it. But we were covering when the Capcom new game announcement ended up being Street Fighter 6. I think there was like 1,700 people in here at once for that stream. But this is an impromptu thing here, right? So it's completely different. Appreciate each and every single one of you for being here. If you do like what we got going on, hit the like button, share, and subscribe. If you are new here, we have 3 podcasts. This is not one of them. This is just me unhinged, ranting about gaming journalism, bias in the industry, all the bullshit out there. But we do have 3 shows. Monday, we have a podcast called Fun Speculation Podcast. We have an awesome panel. Thursdays, PM and the PM podcast. If you know my buddy Pong Soul, you see him a lot of different podcasts. It's me and him, 2-man show. That is Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then Friday nights, Xbox Ultimate Podcast at 10 p.m. Eastern time as well. But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming through. Sometimes you feel the juice, or you feel like you've been like, you're a little triggered, you're a little energized, and you just got to go live. And that's what this is tonight. And again, earlier we hit 2,900 subs. Finally hit that 2,900 number. So we'll be reaching out to try and hit 3,000 soon. So appreciate any of the subs out there, all the support. You guys rock. Hyperion Corporation says Hyperion Corporation is the greatest corporation. Right on. Let's see. I want to get to some more of the chat. Yeah, regulators, Poison Maniac says, regulators even try to say Minecraft is irrelevant when Microsoft said they wanted to do the same thing with COD franchise and expand it further. Like, really? Yeah, it just doesn't make any damn sense, man. I feel like mostly up to this point, what the regulators and for like the CMA and stuff have done is try and just parrot Sony's talking points because it's been their only argument. The thing is as it gets closer down to time to make a deal with this thing, I feel like a lot of this stuff is going to come to the forefront as being like exposed. Like Sony still doesn't want to turn over their documents, right? They keep delaying. They keep saying, "Hey, we don't want to turn over our documents, so we need more time and all this kind of stuff." The FTC actually asked for that. Plus, also, Microsoft has been suing them to get those documents, but they keep putting it off, right? PlayStation doesn't want to put that out there. They just don't, because obviously there's something there that they don't want them to see, right? I mean, what, like, they claim it's going to take them forever and all that kind of stuff, you know. But it's as we get closer down to it, I think things are going to be more transparent. Today or earlier today, supposedly Microsoft even made the CMA an offer of conditions or whatever that they're willing to solve some of the problems. We know that the EC is looking more likely that they're going to accept concessions. That's the words that are coming out right now. The FTC, 0 for 6 in court battles. Microsoft has a slam dunk with the FTC. No matter what the FTC says is irrelevant because it's going to end up getting a 1 in court from Microsoft. The only thing that really matters is the CMA. So I think tomorrow is the day that they have to turn in those documents. We'll see. I don't know if what'll be made public of that. I don't know if any of it will, but man, if any of these PlayStation documents get made public, it'd be fucking incredible. Mainly, I want to see Jim Ryan's performance report. I want to see Jim Ryan's internal performance report, performance review from PlayStation. That would be absolutely like the most amazing thing to read. I don't think we're going to get to see it, though. It'll be redacted. Decado, 5 more gifted memberships, dude. You're absolutely incredible, bro. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the members here on the channel as well. All the channel members here got some emojis to play with. And you can have fun with those. If you're a marcher, right there, got a marcher emoji for you. If you think Starfield has a potential to release in March, let's go. BZ says it's harassment. Microsoft is harassing PlayStation for those performance reports. Pong Soul made a good point about that on one of our shows about how those performance reports might actually show more things about like how they view their like successes and stuff like that. It might actually show like some of the deals or what they can more information than will just be in some of the other things. So that was a good point that he had made as well. But the fucking performance reports is just absolutely hilarious. If we got to see it, we got to see like Mark Cerny's performance report. It would be incredible. The Kato says Mav sponsored by Pundit. I do not want a Pundit sponsorship. I don't want to be associated with Andy Robinson's sources. Z Black Rider with $5 Canadian super chat says, let's be honest, Microsoft is an evil corp and we need to keep Xbox in check. SFSG. What is it? What does SFSG mean? Tell me what SFSG means. I'm a moron. I'm sorry. But shout out to Z Black Rider. You're honoring the sentiments of a lot of the journalists out there, Z Black Rider, with that super chat. So yeah, I just don't get that. I just don't get that sentiment, right? Like I feel like Microsoft has this reputation still from like back in the day. Oh, so far so good. Okay, right on. Appreciate it, dude. I feel like Microsoft has this reputation that they still can't get past to a lot of people, right? Because they are big tech, right? You have Apple, you have Google, you have Microsoft, and you have Amazon. People are going to hate any of these companies for whatever reason, right? More so Google and Apple for obvious reasons. Amazon as well for obvious reasons. Microsoft, out of those companies, to me, is like probably plays the nicest, and because they've been down that road before, right? Now, do they have motives? Does Microsoft have motives, right? Do they want to control the cloud? Probably so. They want game devs and they want to run the infrastructure that the world is run on, pretty much, right? I don't doubt that. All of these companies do. But this is about fucking video games. You know what I mean? Like this entire deal is about video games. And once I saw that the whole thing was being all made about Call of Duty, it was the most ridiculous argument that I've seen in an acquisition, like a major acquisition like this ever. Like when Disney bought Fox, right? There's like, hey, but The Simpsons. You know what I mean? Hey, you can have every fucking thing but The Simpsons. You know, I mean, fucking, if you know Simpsons, you're gonna rule the fucking world, man. Let me tell you what. I mean, yeah, like they ended up divesting some things, like some parts of the company, like off of Fox and stuff but like it was never about an IP. Like you can make a million more arguments that would have made sense, but they chose to focus on Call of Duty. They chose to focus on Call of Duty. It's a fucking IP. Like it's a thing. It's a game that is made by people, right? The people are the resource here. Without the people, the IP does not exist. Like you can have somebody else make it or whatever. It may not be the same thing, right? There's no guarantee if another team makes Call of Duty, it'll be good. So the resource is the people, right? The resource is the developers, right? You want to make an argument that they're acquiring so much talent that there's no talent left in the industry. That you can't make that argument. So therefore, Sony and the regulators relied on the only thing they have that they foresaw as somewhat tangible, and they tried to make a resource like Call of Duty seem like it's this resource that's only not recreatable in any kind of way, that it's that you can't, like, it stands on its own and it's so important to all the different platform holders that they can't exist without it. And it's just like, you can't, that's just such a dumb argument. Like, there's so many games that come out and are hugely successful. There's so many games that make more money than Call of Duty. Even. There's games that, like, we saw marketing rights on Hogwarts Legacy. Hogwarts Legacy's killing it right now for Sony. It just is such a weird argument. Like, I've never seen this before. And that's why when a lot of people were freaking out when the CMA went on their like emoji spree on Twitter, and they said that like this is not going to happen because you know, we can't let this happen because Call of Duty. I was like, oh my God, Microsoft's got this in the bag, right? That everybody was freaking out about that. I was like, to me, that was good news because they made it about COD. That's a given. They just got to say that they'll put it on all the platforms and come to agreements with people and stuff like that. That's exactly what's happening now. PlayStation's going to make themselves look bad being the only ones not willing to sign this agreement. Nvidia's already signed it. Nintendo's already signed it. All these other companies now they may be presenting to who knows all where you might be able to play Xbox games in the future, right? PlayStation's making themselves look stupid for putting themselves above the rest of the industry, which they've been doing from the get go, right? It was just stupid, absolutely stupid. Rick Payne says see you playing Gotham Knights 3-bit. Oh, 3-bit said he was gifted Gotham Knights, dude. Enjoy that 30 frames, bro. It's a fun game. It's a good game, right? It is a good game. I just wish it was optimized a little bit better. Samuel Page says, if I were Microsoft, I'd buy Ubisoft. Getting past the open world stuff using some Bethesda magic would revitalize Assassin's Creed to the max. Well, one thing, I don't know if Assassin's Creed needs to be revitalized because Ubisoft seems to be heavy into the Assassin's Creed recently, saying that there's like 10 Assassin's Creed games in the works right now. Like, holy shit. Like, nobody knows what is going on at Ubisoft except Assassin's Creed. Crazy. You guys all rock. Thanks for being here again. Chipmunk says, what about Amazon and MGM? Regulators telling them they have to sell the Bond IP. That's a good one, right? I think that Amazon called their bluff on that, and they still closed the deal, and they decided not to sue. Which regulators told them they have to sell Bond? I forget exactly which ones. I didn't see that, but that's an interesting point there, and it's a stupid thing if that's actually what happened. Let's see what else is there. Let me get some more of these Starfield tweets. 3-bit's been sending me the salt in the DMs. Okay, so all right, I'm gonna play this. This is, I don't know what channel this is from.
At what point did that become a big discussion point? Big discussion.
Okay, so this is from Timur Hussein. Okay, I don't know if this was an interview or what.
Big discussion points that exist around Starfield now is the Xbox and PC exclusivity is finally confirmed. And I guess the question around that is, at what point did that become a consideration for you over the course of development within Bethesda itself, and how did it impact both the development and also as something that you would know, particularly like your plans for marketing, because you obviously go from speaking to a massive base of customers to kind of focusing it down a bit, right? When did that become a consideration, and how did you approach that?
Well, it wasn't a consideration until we got bought by Xbox.
Okay. Does that tell us any, like, is that what people are saying he's lying about? Of course Starfield was originally going to be everywhere before Microsoft bought Xbox. It doesn't mean it wasn't announced. It wasn't fucking announced for PlayStation yet. This is just, again, like, I don't understand there's nothing here. This is what people are crying about.
Example in Bethesda of us pulling something away from the PlayStation community that they had, or games that people are playing, not us not continuing to update those.
Yeah, again, okay, so what Phil said, games that they had. Did PlayStation players have Starfield? Question. Did PlayStation players have Starfield? Yeah, maybe PlayStation was trying to get Starfield exclusivity like they did with Deathloop and like they did with Ghostwire Tokyo. But did PlayStation users, did PlayStation only players ever have Starfield? I would like the answer to that question. Was Starfield ever officially announced for the PS5? Did PlayStation users ever have a game called Starfield on their console by Bethesda? I see a lot of no's. I see a lot of no's. So I want to read what Phil says.
But there's no example in Bethesda of us pulling something away from the PlayStation community that they had, or games that people are playing, not us not continuing to update those. I'd say the same thing with Minecraft Dungeons and with Minecraft, and we'll do the same thing with Legends when it comes out. You know, if I look forward, I think people playing more games across more devices is just where gaming is going. It's the
right thing, huh? That's what we want.
All right. So and this is what people are making a big stink about. Of course, that came from the Red Dragon Twitter account. Yeah, I actually said one of the names. Yeah, like I said, the usual clown show as well. Again, get over it. Starfield ain't yours. It never was. Was it if Microsoft didn't buy ZeniMax Bethesda, would you have gotten Starfield? Yeah, probably so. I would pretty much almost guarantee that. That doesn't make fucking Phil Spencer a liar. They didn't take it away from you. It was never announced for your platform officially. When they made the game, they bought ZeniMax Bethesda to make those new IPs and stuff and those new games exclusive to Xbox in places where Game Pass exists, as he said. So stop trying to go out there and twist his words to make him seem like a liar. I'm sorry if you thought it was coming to your platform even after Microsoft bought them. I'm sorry if you thought that. It's just not a reality. That was you, in your mind, twisting things out there, thinking it was a possibility. That was you in your mind saying, well, there's still a chance. Well, there's still going to happen. And to this day, still people still saying that shit. People trying to call them liars, all that stuff. Who knows what the future holds? You can't tell me what's going to happen 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. But I know when Starfield comes out, maybe in March, it'll only be on Xbox ecosystem and Steam. And that's a fact. And that's what they've been saying all along. Shane says Xbox needs more exclusive. I simp for Game Pass, but sadly not enough alone for most people to change ecosystems. Well, that might change this year. You got Starfield, you got Redfall, you got Forza Motorsport, and you got who knows what's happening in the second half. You got Minecraft Legends hitting as well. Game Pass is a value that people may flock to. Over time, when you start, again, we talked about this a long time ago, right? Now, 2022 kind of sucked ass. Let's just be real, right? I mean, there was plenty of stuff to play. We all had a good time. But for first party big games, it was down, right? It was a down year. However, the beauty of Game Pass, right? People talk about value and what is value and perceived value and all this stuff, right? There's one true fact here. Every first party game that releases and every game that enters into Game Pass, the value of Game Pass gets better. The value gets better. Every place they now put the ecosystem that wasn't there before, every new device that gets access to the Game Pass ecosystem, every new thing, guess what? The value of Game Pass just got better. When they put a thing like EA Play in there, when they put now it's on LG TV or Samsung TVs, and now it's on this or whatever, the value of Game Pass gets better. Every fucking release that Xbox has, the value gets better. This is a thing that expands upon itself. It's a ball that starts small and it's kept rolling. Think about what Game Pass was when it started. It has a hell of a lot more value today than it did then. And that's just going to grow and grow and grow and grow because these first-party games ain't leaving Game Pass. And there's a lot of games that from third parties that still stay there for years and years and years that don't ever leave. Some of them leave, some of them do, some of them come and go, and that's fine. That's just part of a service like that. That happens with all subscription type services like this. But you can count on the first party games, with a few exceptions due to whatever licensing things they may have or whatever, are going to stay in the ecosystem. And over time, that value might just become too attractive for somebody, right? Well, shit, I can go in there. Think of it later this year. Think about let's say if you're looking for a console this holiday season, right? Or you're looking for an ecosystem or whatever. Let's say you're just on the PC or whatever. Later this year, you're like, man, I got a lot of free time, and I'm going to start gaming and all this kind of stuff. All right, let's look at what I got to play. Okay, I can go here. I can just spend $500 on a console. I can buy that game for 70, that game for 70, that game for 70, that game for 70, that game for 70. Oh man, fuck, that's like, oh shit, that's like $800, $900. That's going to take a hit, right? Okay, I see Starfield, Redfall, Forza, Minecraft Legends. I see Forza Horizon 5 still is hugely popular. I haven't played that yet. I see Forza Motorsport. I see Minecraft, one of the most popular games in the world. I see at this time probably Call of Duty as well. Diablo maybe at that point. Also, you see all these different games. You're like, shit, like if I just get that, or maybe I just play on my PC and I just spend the $15 a month or whatever, and guess what? I have access to everything, and I can just play all these games, and I'm good. That's where the value gets you, right? MLB The Show, right? Yeah, whatever they have for the second half of this year. At some point, they look at it and like, well, fuck, man, that's like too good of a deal to pass up, right? So you get in the ecosystem and then you stay in it, because the key is they got to have enough pipeline of flow of content coming out to keep you in the system. They don't want you to sign up and play one game and then leave, right? They want you to sign up, play a game, and have something else to look forward to, right? That's what they want, and they want you to have that back catalog of like hundreds of things to play. That's what Game Pass is, right? The value keeps getting better, regardless if you play on console or wherever, right? So, we talked about this a long time. I feel like Sony's late in the game. This is something I wanted to talk about, actually, like on subscription services. And I think it's kind of hurting their business. AGH says, I've always thought Capcom would be a good purchase, but what if they just bought Camelot Software, Level 5, Miss Walker, Platinum, and Koei Tecmo, and they already have Tango? That would add a lot of juice, right? That add a lot of talent and stuff. I think ABK does more for what they want to do with like the cloud and like mobile and all of this stuff, right? Is ABK my most like desired publisher for Microsoft to acquire? No, I would go after Sega or Capcom, or I mean, there's probably about 10 others that I would take above ABK, right? However, it's still big for Xbox. It's going to be good for the ecosystem. If it doesn't go through, that just means I have to pay $70 for games that I was hoping I was going to get into Game Pass, right? The games that I was going to play or anyway or whatever, it's going to cost me more money. The hopefulness is if the ABK deal goes through, that we get more variety from ABK. We get more variety from Activision, right? My number one, I see AJH saying WB or Capcom. My number one would be WB Discovery. Buy that whole fucking thing. WB Discovery, you get HBO Max in there. You get everything. Imagine being able to add the whole value of WB Discovery. The DC licenses, all the DC shit. You get game studios like NetherRealm, WB Montreal. I mean, that would check a lot of Rocksteady. That would check a lot of boxes, right? That would be my number one. You automatically have places to put your gaming IPs and for movies and shows and stuff like that. That would be the best move, in my opinion. But not happening. Pig Hunter Gaming says Starfield just radiates too much ambition syndrome. Well, that's Bethesda Game Studios for you. Every single one of their big their single player, first person / third person RPGs have always been more ambitious than anything else out there. I wouldn't want otherwise, right? Like Starfield, Oblivion, Skyrim, Morrowind, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, all hugely ambitious games. Massively ambitious games. I don't ever want that to change from Bethesda. 3-Bit says, also, Mav, that 10-year thing was no longer offered as a concession for all of their other IPs. Yeah, he's talking about supposedly with the EC that came out today, that they did offer remedies or the concessions or whatever, and it didn't include all of ABK's games. It only included Call of Duty. So we'll see. Maybe that's a starting point, 3-Bit, and maybe like the all of ABK games may like become what they end up agreeing to as a negotiating tactic. I don't know. We'll see. Future Generation says Xbox already has plenty of variety and diversity. Sony are the ones that make only one type of game, third person over the shoulder cinematic dramas. Yeah, they're a little bit one typey. I mean, I think they're trying to add some variety out there and stuff like that. Now they got some investment in some different things, but lately it's been getting a little stale for me, for sure. Z Black Rider says Starfield will be huge. I don't think people realize how big Starfield is going to be, because it's associated with the Xbox now, right? People don't really realize that. It's going to smash God of War Ragnarok. I mean, it's not going to be fucking close with the amount of people that are going to be playing that game. I mean, it is not going to even be close. I mean, in the amount of users that access that game, it's gonna be crazy. People don't realize what Bethesda is anymore. You know why? It's partly on Bethesda because they've taken so long between Skyrim and this release. So people look at the games like Fallout 76 and games like Elder Scrolls Online and it's like, oh, they're not really making the stuff that I want anymore, you know. And they don't realize that this Starfield is the game that Todd Howard is following up with his A team, finally, the A team. Not like Arcane Austin as the lead or whatever, the different Bethesda Austin. This is the core team. This team that's building Starfield. A lot of them are industry vets that have been there for over 20 years. This core team that is building Starfield is the same team in general that has been making the Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Skyrim, Oblivion, Morrowind, those guys, right? It's not the Fallout 76 guys. It's not the Elder Scrolls Online guys. The Elder Scrolls Online is ZeniMax Online. Fallout 76 was some of the other Bethesda studios in other locations and with support from the main Bethesda Game Studios team, right? Oh, I'm sorry. I mispronounced his name as God Howard, right? Todd did oversee those games, right? But while those games were also being made, they were also working on Starfield. Since Fallout 4 came out, they have been working on Starfield. And if you don't believe me, there's interviews way back then of him talking about this. Way back then. They have been working on this game for a very long time. Main production started years ago. This game was in a playable state like in 2018. People do not realize what they're about to see happen with Starfield. The PC community is going to eat this game up. PC gaming, this is going to be like the biggest game that's happened since Fallout 4, right? Like, this is going to be fucking massive. Big deal. And it's going to be on Xbox. It's going to be playable on the cloud ecosystem. It's going to be playable on Steam. We play on Xbox PC, all across the board. It's going to be fucking huge. The modding community, and this game's also going to have legs. The modding, like you guys talking about the modding community. This game is going to be a success, not only just in this year, but years and years and years to come. Right? Starfield is going to be fucking huge. People try and belittle it because, you know, they don't understand what it is and all this kind of stuff. It's got no clue. They've forgotten. They've forgotten about God Howard. They've forgotten about Bethesda Game Studios and what they do. Part of that's on Bethesda for taking so damn long, right? But this is it, guys. I mean, this is Todd Howard. This is the next thing from one of the best creators in the industry. Will it have bugs? Absolutely. It's going to have bugs. Will it be amazing? Absolutely. Will it be 60 frames? I have no fucking clue. I hope so. Future Generation says you can't say the same for Sony games. They don't have legs like that. I mean, that's mostly true. I mean, there's people that replay a lot of the single player games. I never have. I've never been one to play a lot of those games more than once. I will tell you, Skyrim. I bought Skyrim on my PlayStation 3, my 360, my PS4, my Xbox One, my I mean, I think I even got it on my PC and more than one storefront, possibly even on the PC. I've bought in Skyrim so many times. I've started Skyrim so many times. I've played it so much Skyrim over and over and over again because I just like living in the world, right? It's not even the story or beating the game. People don't understand what these games are what they do, how they immerse you, right? And I feel like Starfield is something I've always been wanting for them to do, like that space sci-fi game. I remember in an interview a long time ago, Todd Howard talked about maybe having a trifecta of the types of games he wanted to make. He talked about a post-apocalyptic game. They got that with Fallout because they acquired that IP. Then they talked about he wanted to do his fantasy, game style. That's the Elder Scrolls, and they wanted to check that box of the space sci-fi game. And they decided that there was no time better than after Fallout 4. If they were going to ever do their space game, it was now or never. That's why it's taken so long for Elder Scrolls. But if you guys think that Starfield's going to be huge, oh my God, just wait till Elder Scrolls 6 comes out. The hype around Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be like something we have not seen before in a long ass time. Harry Balsack says, predict Starfield sales on PC and Xbox. Oof. It's hard to predict sales on Xbox because of Game Pass. Shit. How much did Hogwarts Legacy sell on Steam so far? I know, like, overall, it just crossed 12 million total across all platforms or whatever. God of War Ragnarok did announce like 11 mil recently. So I'll say sales in the first, let's say in the first 2 months, I'll say probably like 18 million. Maybe even 20. Now, you want to talk about players, which is the real number that matters. 10 first month, I say maybe so, maybe a little bit more, and then 18, 20 by second month, especially the third. But you want to talk about players? You're talking about like 40, 50 million potentially. No, maybe 30. I'll say 30 within the first like month to 2 month players. Maybe, and that'll keep growing, right? I think it'll break the Steam record of concurrent players. I think that it will be the most played game on Xbox, and it'll be the most played game in the cloud on Xbox. All of the above. I think it's going to drive more subscriptions than any game has previously for Xbox. Look at this. Forza Horizon 4 had like 20 million players in the first like 6 months, right? Or maybe less. It would maybe not even been 6 months. And that's a fucking racing game. That's a racing game. 20 million players on Forza Horizon 5. Sorry, Forza Horizon 5 in the first like 6 months. That's a racing game. You talk about Starfield, Bethesda, that's gonna be another animal, right? And it's just a guess. I could be fucking wrong. I don't know. Good question though. It is no ordinary racing game though. By the way, did Rally already hit? I need to play that. Top Fever with the $2 super chat says no COD equals no money to fund interactive movies for ponies. Yeah, that's still like an asinine thing that Sony is trying to proclaim, that they can't afford to make games without Call of Duty. That's such a weak argument for that's such a weak. You want to talk about making yourself look weak, saying you need a third-party game that you don't own for your ability to exist. That's a bad look. Like Sony has no control over ABK. They have no control over Call of Duty. Whatever ABK does or decides to do with that brand in the future is up to them. They're trying to proclaim that without Call of Duty, they can't afford to make their own games. That is like making yourself look like you shouldn't exist in the first place because you're stupid for having a model that exists that way. If you're relying on things you can't control for your existence, not a very good move. Yeah, which I don't buy that at all, right? Whatsoever. That's just a joke. Let's see. Let me get to some more comments here. Let's see. Sky L says the Twitch streamers are going to sell it to the casuals. People forget how big Twitch is. Yeah, like Hogwarts Legacy, you and people say, well, single player games don't do well on Twitch or whatever. Hogwarts Legacy was like smashing all the multiplayer games on Twitch for a while. Starfield's going to be like that also. Like, it's going to be crazy on Twitch. Especially when the modders get their hands on it. Imagine in a space Bethesda type game with all these planets, the kind of mods we're going to get. Oh man, it's going to be insane. Let's see. What else we got here? Future Generation says, imagine they had a later patch for co-op and they would increase player count for. For Starfield. If Starfield increased their by doing a co-op mod or co-op patch, that would be insane. Harry says Fallout 4 didn't sell anything after the first day. How many copies did Fallout 4 sell total? Like, what's their numbers at? Or are they just 12 million total? I mean, so Fallout 4 had the previous concurrent record, I think, on Steam. I think that was just passed by Hogwarts Legacy. Uh, 1970 Chrome Pony says Skyrim is playing very well on my Switch. Gift Box Creator says I bought Skyrim more than any other game. Another game I've bought in a lot is Diablo 3. That's another one. Which is crazy that think about this ABK deal closes. Remember what people used to call Call of Duty the Halo killer? 10 years ago, whatever. 20 years ago, almost. Or whenever Call of Duty started getting popular. Like, oh, it's the Halo killer, Now Microsoft will own Call of Duty and Halo. Not only that, they'll own Diablo and Skyrim, and Elder Scrolls. I mean, and the development studios they have are just absolutely amazing. They'll own StarCraft and Age. I mean, first-person shooters. You already own Doom as well. Overwatch. Absolutely insane. It's gonna be crazy. All that in Game Pass. All that in Game Pass. Shit, that's gonna be nuts. Xbox is a place of Western RPGs and first-person shooters. Yeah, they need to get some more JRPG goodness here as well. I know not a lot of people say they don't like them, whatever. I like JRPGs, so I think saw somebody today say, "Do we think after ABK deal closes that we'll get back to acquisition talk?" I said that sounds like a lot of fun. I think the next move that Xbox makes is in the East. I think that's their hole that they want to try and fill. So they're going to go out there and they're going to acquire maybe another couple studios or a smaller publisher or something from the East. Say Sega. That would be crazy. I don't know if they could pull it off. I would hope so, but that would be amazing. I think it'll probably be like somebody we don't expect, right? So that's Jason Max with the usual comment. Just remember, Xbox is number one. Please get Larian and Owlcat. Larian would be a great studio, but they are having trouble developing on Xbox right now, apparently. Absolutely crazy what Fallout 4 did 3-bit. Yeah, that was amazing. Asobo, some WB studios, certain. Sega has a lot of great IPs. Sonic with movie graphics. Fireboss says, I'd love them target more in-house JRPGs again, like in the early 360 days. Same, man. I mean, I think with Game Pass, you're gonna like. There's a certain thing when you say, "Hey, try this game," by buying it for $50, $60, $70, right? You're gonna have people that just have, I don't really like these kind of games. I'm like not willing to spend that much money to try something, right? But the thing is with Game Pass, you bring in like those kind of games into Game Pass, you're gonna have people willing to try and play things that they necessarily would not have otherwise, and you may make some fans out of these games. It's already happened several times to me. I had zero excitement for As Dusk Falls. As Dusk Falls, I was trashing on a lot. I was sick of seeing it. I played it, like, wow, I loved it. Had a great time. I'm looking forward to, hopefully they continue the story. Hi-Fi Rush is a great game. I haven't finished it yet because I'm playing a lot of other stuff, but Hi-Fi Rush is a game I probably wouldn't have bought, but I played it and I like it, you know? There's a lot of people that have been playing Age 2 on console that may have never even tried it. You have people trying all these different games because of multiplayer stuff and community. People get it, people to play stuff with each other, all this kind of stuff. So you have Soul Hackers 2 is just getting the Game Pass, I think, right? So hey, people, try that game. It's a good game. Personas hit Game Pass. Like, try these games. They're good games. If you see if you like it. If you don't, that's fine. You know, like, but maybe you may be missing out on something that you might like. That's what Game Pass is for me. It's like, I'll usually try stuff. Like, I'll be honest with you, don't have a lot of hype for Wolong personally, because I'm not a big Souls game fan. Like, I don't usually get into Souls games, and it's kind of Soulsy, right? So I don't have a whole lot of hype for it. But am I gonna play it? Yeah, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna try it, and I may end up getting sucked into it and loving it. That's the beauty of Game Pass there, right? NC Ghost of Low Red. Is it Lowered? Of Low Road. NC Ghost of Low Road. Okay. Don't forget, Microsoft wanted a movies and TV division. Sega is the closest thing to Nintendo with IP that they could use to break that barrier. Yeah, when we talked about the movies and TV division, that's where I was going with WB Discovery. If they did that, they would get gaming plus that. They'd automatically have HBO, which would be huge. But RSJ says, I'll buy it eventually, Wolong. Right on. Yeah, I'm just gonna play it in Game Pass, see if I like it. Future Generation says, well, what could happen is that Microsoft could grab Embracer Group and then grab the Crystal Dynamics dev. That was probably the plan when people lost their minds when Embracer got Crystal and Eidos. Grabbing Embracer Group. That would be hard to get through the regulators after ABK. Embracer Group has so many studios. I don't know. Anything's possible. I'm curious what would happen there. Embracer Group. Maybe they could get Crystal Dynamics from Embracer Group, right? Maybe Embracer Group like bought those studios and they may end up selling them off also, right? They have to hold them for a certain amount of time before they can sell them, I think. You don't mean the entire group? Okay, right on. AJH says WB for the US, Capcom, or a multitude of smaller studios for Asia, Japan, and Focus for Europe. Yeah, Capcom would be great. They used to have a great relationship with Microsoft. We had games like Dead Rising and Lost Planet that were like exclusives on the 360 generation. You know, like Capcom was a big player. Last generation, not so much, right? But I think Capcom's coming back around there. Maybe it'd be amazing. And supposedly they were really close to acquiring Capcom at some point. 3-Bit says, if I was Microsoft, I'd focus on private studios again. Yeah. Maybe for a little while. Just get some of these private studios that follow under the regulatory approval process that don't fall under that. J Gaming 1986 says, Sony is going to apparently somehow buy Take-Two Rockstar if the ABK deal goes through. Ponies can keep dreaming because Sony can't afford the makers of GTA. Yeah, I looked up the market cap for Take-Two after I saw that ridiculousness on Twitter, and they're like at around 18.5. Usually these studios are going for around 40 to 50% above what the market cap is, or that's at least what was happening. So it would probably take like 24, 25 or more bill. I don't think Sony can afford that. The other thing is Take-Two doesn't really want to sell. They're not in the same position ABK was. So you're looking at them having to agree to even be bought. They're not in that position. They're not like out seeking buyers, Take-Two. You know, Take-Two is looking at acquiring things. Take-Two's in a different position. That was another pundit source, probably, right? That was another like stupid. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. Common sense doesn't add up on that one. Take-Two's in a completely different spot than ABK was. The only way that only reason ABK became available because they were in such a bad position that they became vulnerable for this, and they needed a way out. They were crumbling. They needed a way out. They were down very low compared to what their usual market cap is. And Microsoft offered above what their normal market cap was. And they offered like 95 a share when they were down to like 62, 65, maybe 68 was like the highest at the time. I can't remember exactly what they were. But they came in at the spot that made sense. And they started low and negotiated up to 95 a share. Right? I think that originally they only offered like 80. Something like that, or 85. I can't remember what the original offer was. But they ended up agreeing to 95. Right? I don't think Sony could pull that off. Take-Two. It'd be too expensive. 3-Bit said Gabe said he's looking to retire though. Here's the thing. Steam is a private company, but I honestly feel like Microsoft would have a way harder time of getting a Steam acquisition through because of the PC market. Having a potential monopoly over the PC market, gaming market, than an ABK deal. So with regulatory approval. Like, yeah, it's a private company, Steam is, but it's still above a certain amount. I think it still has to be approved. I'm not sure 100% how the process works with all the regulators and shit like that. But, like, Microsoft already has, like, 95% of, like, the PC market in general that plays games with Windows, right? Like, if you have 95% of the PC gaming market is on Windows, right? So then you would have the biggest storefront and your own storefront as well. And the only other competitive, I mean, there's like Good Old Games and there's like Epic Game Store, but they have such a small position right now that I think that would be hard to get through a Steam acquisition. I would hope maybe instead they can do a partnership with Steam, do some kind of a deal with Steam to make like Steam available on Xbox and the Xbox ecosystem and the Xbox ecosystem available on Steam. Like create some kind of partnership. That would be amazing. I would rather see that. Valve also is a competitor to Microsoft with Linux OS. Yeah. Who's still playing GTA 5? The graphics are old as dirt. Dude, if you've played like GTA Online with the Series X and S update, you paid that like $20 or whatever. That game looks better than most games out there right now. I'm just being honest. Like Kate plays it all the time. I'm looking at her game when she's playing that shit because it's like running at 60 frames, like 4K 60, fucking buttery smooth, like in the environments and the everything. I'm like, fuck, that looks gorgeous. And we're getting shit that's like buggy and like unoptimized a lot right now. Like GTA 5 online, GTA Online is like really impressive. That's just my opinion anyway. Steam Store and Xbox would be incredible. Oh my God. Yeah. You want to talk about them talking about open ecosystem and stuff like that? That would be amazing. Being able to access your Steam games on a fucking Xbox. That'd be crazy. MR2 says, can GeForce Now be run from an Xbox? I don't think so, but it would be amazing. But Xbox has AMD in it. So I don't know if that matters. You know. What's up, Phasma? Says, hey Mav. Hey everyone. How you doing, Phaz? Sky says, plus the mods on PC are crazy. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, everybody, we've had a fun 2-hour stream here, off the cuff, impromptu. Again, I got juiced, got triggered by all the stupid biasness out there. We had a long discussion. Appreciate each and every one of you guys for coming through. Shout out to Carlos Loco, says hi. What's up? How you doing? Again, if you're new here, you like the content, hit the like button, share it out, subscribe to the channel, let people know about what we're doing here. We're on a push now to 3K. We hit 2,900 earlier today, and we got more shows coming down this week. We got 3 podcasts on this channel again. Mondays is Fun Speculation Podcast. Thursdays is PM in the PM at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So this Thursday, check us out. Fridays is Xbox Ultimate Podcast at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And we do game streams, impromptu streams like this, and just a lot of different stuff. We try and cover gaming events when they happen that are important enough to cover. And we talk a lot about gaming news. And this was a little bit of a different kind of impromptu because this was like a rant type thing, you know, and just getting stuff off my chest after seeing the ridiculousness going out there for the last week or two. But you guys all are amazing for being here and showing the support. I appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to the Fun Spec fam, all of our panelists for our podcast. Thank you for everything you've done to help us get to that 2,900 and onwards to 3,000. And it's been real, guys. I'm gonna head out and I'm gonna play some games before bed. You guys all rock, and I can't wait to see you guys in the future on some more content and some more shows. Have a good one. Take it easy. Peace out. Laters.